obviously the editing and the Frankenbites there was a lot with me. So I think we've spoken about the first farewell dinner where the voiceover Clarette steals Thomas to claim her spot when I already knew I was staying and I didn't ask Tom outside, he asked me. Then the pretty early with the farm, we were outside and Tom asked who wanted to go on the boom spray with him. And it was actually Nathania that volunteered me. Nobody put their hand up, and Nathania said, "Oh, Clarette, you should have a go." And I said, oh, "Okay." The voiceover is Clarette pushes every other girl out of the way to get on, which just wasn't true. I was actually really shy. Then there's another example where the new ladies had just arrived, and the producers said, "Three of you can have a ride." Oh no, Rach went on the tractor with Tom, Laura went on the tractor with Tom, and it got to me and Jess, and the producer said, "Oh, there's only time for one more girl to go on the tractor." And I said, "Oh, go for it, Jess, because I've had way more time than you have." And they really wanted us to fight that out, and I just wasn't playing up to that. And they obviously cut me being kind and saying, you go rather than me. That was all cut out. I think they've even spliced names. So my name obviously sounds very similar to someone else's name, and yet we've noticed things like that where they've made it seem like Tom's talking about somebody else when he was talking about me, and they've cut that name. So there's been lots and lots of pretty horrific examples of what they've done. And there was one example where they asked me a question, what have you come on here for? And I said, "Oh, I've come on for love. I'm not here just to make friends. Obviously, that's an amazing byproduct of the experience, but not my priority. Why would I go on a show for love just to make friends?" And they've obviously just cut and said, "I'm not here to make friends." And I just was so naive. I didn't realize they would do stuff like that. And I was really naive, I think, to think that they, would show who I am. And throughout the whole process, the producers would say, "Oh, you're standing up for women, and you're calling Tom out for things that he's doing, this, that, and the other." And they were really bigging me up to be that confident person when I'm actually really introverted naturally. So I think, and I just fell into it. And now looking back and speaking to the other girls, and I said, "Oh, were you being asked questions like this, and this?" They're like, "Oh no, all my questions were focused on the other girls." And I would always say positive things, but then they would always say, "Oh, hypothetically though, what would you do in this situation?" I'm like, "Oh, hypothetically, of course I'd be jealous. Of course I'd be upset. Why wouldn't I be?" And obviously they just have used those bits and have not used the full sentence. And I just didn't realize how crazy editing could actually be.